Merciful goddess, mother of the forlorn who have no place to call their own, please bear witness to our resolve. Fire for Ariandel. Fire for Ariandel. And the ash to kindle flame. Wait, you've the same scent as that woman. Then you must be an Ashen One. You must be. Oh, you don't know how long I've searched. Oh, don't mind me. Didn't mean to fall apart. Now, Ashen One, I have a kindness to ask of you. My lady lives in the cold land of Ariandel. I need you to show her flame. A proper flame that will burn the rot away. If you truly are ash, then it must be fire that you seek. Ah, thank you. They of ash never fail. Just a moment, then. The painting of Ariandel. Well, rotted scrap of it, that is. Go on. Take it. Touch it. And then the ashes were too.
They of ash never fail. Isn't the entire lore of what we are based on we failed to link the fire? I might be misremembering that, but I think that's what it was. In Dark Souls 3, Ashen Ones are the one who tried to link the fire and failed, so I'm pretty sure we do. But anyways, hello. Welcome back. This is part, I believe, 14 of our Thrusting Sword run, and this is going to be, hopefully, the finale.
Have you just arrived? How very unusual. Just how long has it been? Rejoice, my new friend. For this is a true haven of the forlorn, the cold and gentle painted world of Ariandel. Quick, go along. Find one for yourself. A sweetly rotting bed to lie upon. Yes, of course. You're no exception. We've all seen terrible things. But you're safe now. Let it ease your burden. Ariandel will make a fine home for you. So, go on ahead. Find one for yourself. A sweetly rotting bed to lie upon.
So, last time we made our way through Archdragon Peak, and it went horribly for the most part. It ended pretty well, but for the most part it went horribly. Only the mighty may proceed. And you may find it weird that I'm saying this is the last part as I head into a DLC, when there's no way I'm going to beat a DLC in one part. Like, I'm okay at these games, but I'm not nearly that good. Especially not running around with a thrusting sword. And... hello, dogs. And as you may guess by me running through everything, we're not doing the DLC. Hello, dog. So you may wonder, why are we here then? And the answer to that is pretty simple. We are here to get the final thrusting sword. And that's all I'm here to do. I'm not going to be doing the DLC this part, this run. That's fine. I really don't need it, really don't care for it. We're just going to continue on. And I am going to be doing the DLCs at some point. There's going to be a few runs where I do them, just not this time. I'm too rusty with them, and thrusting swords are not good enough, and I do not find them fun enough. So, right up there is our weapon. And yeah, you keep screaming. You'll keep screaming. And this thing right here terrifies me. Those things, they have what I like to call a machine gun attack, where they can hit you like a dozen times very, very, very quickly, and essentially just stun lock you almost no matter what your poise is. And that's very scary, especially for someone like me who tends to play a bit more aggressive, because rude. Because the more aggressive you play, the more you tend to run out of stamina. Which, when mixed with something with a machine gun attack, is not a very good combination. But here, we can run, we can jump, we can land, we can pick up the Quills. I'm gonna get out of here, because I like surviving. And as you can see, I have fully upgraded all the thrusting swords besides this. But this one, we're at 70.8 now. That's fine. But this one is a dexterity based one, and it's got 120 critical. And the light attack, pretty basic stuff. Nothing too special about it. Same thing with the heavy attack. Does its job, nothing special. It's when you start to two-hand it, because as you can see, this isn't a two-hand like this. This just whips out a whole nother weapon. And if you try to block with this, you do a double slash. Second move, poke, poke, poke. third one, slash poke. And then let's get our stamina back up. And yeah, it just continues those on. So, very unique weapon. Pretty cool combos. And then the skill, Quill Dart. You jump into the air. You throw your claw things out, basically. So if you played Elden Ring, it's basically a fan dagger. Except it consumes FP instead of a consumable. Now, we're not going to be using that this run. And what does it take to upgrade? Normal Titanite shards. Okay.
Pretty.
Well, we're not going to be getting to that this run. And I mentioned it before that part of the reason I do these runs is to figure out the pros and cons of each weapon class. And you may notice I've mostly just been using the S-Stock. And there's a reason for that. You see, on these single weapon class runs, I have what I consider to be like a singular base weapon. So for like straight swords, it's the long sword. For daggers, it's the dagger. For thrusting swords, it's the S-Stock. Like for the great swords, it's the claymore, so on and so forth. It's just like the basic weapon for the weapon class. And that's what I use to try to figure out a baseline for what that weapon class does. And then after that, I don't really record them in full playthroughs like this, but I do go back and I play through with each weapon. And so, for example, you get Blessed Rapier very early on, it's in High Wall of Lothric, and you get Rickard's Rapier very late on. So I'll do a second run where I'll pick up the Blessed Rapier. I mean, it's not blessed normally, but I'll pick up the Rapier very early on, and I'll play through that, and then like roughly halfway through the game, I'll try to get my hands on Rickard's, and I'll use that for the second half of the game. And then for the more unique ones, like Crystal Sage's Rapier, because it's more about intelligence than the dexterity or dexterity and strength of the other ones. Because that's unique, I'll give that its own full playthrough. And because Quills is very unique, I mean, just obviously, I'll give that its own full run. And then I'll look at, like, I'll have notes for the weapon class in general, but then I'll have notes for each individual weapon and what it's good for, what it's bad for, like what its niche is, which one is the best in the weapon class, and which one you should use if you're going to use the weapon class. And while I've completed all the weapon classes, like single weapon class runs in Dark Souls 1, that's what I'm currently doing. I'm going through all the individual weapons, and like I said, it's not a full run of this, 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 full run of this. It's if I think two weapons are pretty similar, like the Rapier and Rickard's Rapier, but one has gotten early, one has gotten late, then I'll bunch those two into the same run. But if something is unique, like one of these two, then I'll give them their own full dedicated run. So that way I'm not doing like 100 runs but I'm still giving every single weapon the spotlight for a decent amount of time. But anyways, we have previously gotten all 4 Cinders of a Lord. You can pause if you want to read those descriptions. I really don't care for it this time. I believe I read them last time. And something that I didn't notice until after I stopped recording the last part is I didn't do Hawkwood's. Like, I didn't finish his quest. You just teleport to the Abyss Watcher's boss room, and he'll be there, and he'll fight you. And then you kill him, and you'll get one of the dragon, like, twinkling dragon pieces. If you want that. That's all you get out of it. Some dialogue, a fight, twinkling dragon thing. But you place all 4 Cinders of a Lord down, and Firekeeper now makes her way down here.
The 5 lords sit their 5 thrones, all thanks to thee, most worthy of lords. Ashen One, with the lords as thy witness, bend thy knee afore the bonfire's coiled sword, and let the lords' embers acknowledge thee as their true heir, a true lord, fit to link the fire. Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee. Noble lords of Cinder, the fire fades. And the lords go without thrones. Surrender your fires to the true heir. Let him grant death to the old gods of Lordran, deliverers of the first flame.
I wonder how that cutscene would play out if the Firekeeper was dead. I'm not gonna try it because I'm not evil, but I do wonder. Because you can kill her, I think. I believe. But here, you can proceed to the first flame, which is straightforward out there. You can see that thing just above our head. But straightforward. There's a bonfire you can light here, and then turn around, and here you can travel to the Dreg Heap. So, this is the second way to get to the Dreg Heap. First way is by beating the main boss in the first DLC. Because there'll just be a bonfire there. But if you head out here, as you can see, things look pretty much the same as the Kiln of the First Flame. And also, just above our head there, there's a building moving. So that's interesting. But again, I'm not doing the DLC this time. Because again, I'm too rusty with it. And the DLC is very difficult, and thrusting swords are not that good, and I don't find them to be very fun. They're not bad, they're just not super engaging to me. But if you go back to Firelink Shrine, what's his face? The guy who gives you boss souls, or boss weapons, you can get a ring from him. And I still don't have the fire one. I forgot to pick that up. Oh well. Well, here you can summon Londor Pale Shade. And you can also summon Yuri of Londor. If you're on good terms with them. But, as I mentioned earlier in the run, new rule, not for Dark Souls 1 because I didn't think of it at the time, but for Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, possibly Elden Ring, possibly Dark Souls 2, we'll see. I'm allowed to do each summon 3 times, which means I can have, if I do strictly one summon instead of summoning both in a single run, I can have help on 6 runs. And I don't know if I'm gonna need it for this guy, because he is tough. But we're gonna see. I would rather give it... I rolled too late. I got greedy. Oh no. So he swaps between, I believe it's 4 different forms. And this form right here is the curved sword form. And he can parry. I did not know he could parry. So you learn something new every day. But he's got curved sword, and he's got some pyromancies. And this is sorcery. And that's like his only melee sorcery. And so if you get close, watch out for that. Ow. Alright, we're gonna back up for a second. But yeah, here he's got a spear and miracles. But something... Ow. So mean. But anyway, something interesting is that despite moving away from his sorcery form, he still gets homing soul mass. And here, Gwyn. And he has the Manus 5 swing combo. Or if he hits you with one, he hits you with all. I thought that was the delayed one. Ow. I got greedy. Jesus. You're being so mean. Yeah. That's the delayed one. I know you can probably parry that jump attack, because it's by far the easiest attack to parry. Delayed attack. Like, people say that Elden Ring has too many delayed attacks. Ooh. Man, that sword has a lot of range. That's what I was doing. My character just did not roll. Jump, jump. I pressed the roll button. And my character did not roll. But, alright. Alright, I'm dead. Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose that's what I get for waking up and immediately going, yeah, I can just fight the final boss. See, this is why you practice. Because practice is important. But we did pretty well there. People complain about Elden Ring having delayed attacks. That was 2 delayed attacks back to back. Did you hear me? That's what I was doing. I was going... And my character just went, ooh, stretch. Ooh, limber up those muscles. Ooh, yeah, just really stretch out the back. And, oh, what's that? We're in a fight. Don't worry about it. If they see that I'm just standing here, he won't... He'll realize that I'm a friend. Like... My boy. If you just stand there, he's going to wail on you. So, instead of just standing there, There you go. See, how hard is it to roll? I pressed the roll button and he didn't. I swear, I have to press the roll button 72 times. To roll once. And I don't understand it. Because my roll button is not broken. I know that it's not broken. This is the only controller that I use. And it works every time outside of combat. And so I don't know why it doesn't work in combat. Well, I had to dodge one of the attacks. Alright. Watch. I'm gonna press it once. I'm gonna press it once. 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 I press it once. And it works every time. But if I get hit once, it doesn't matter how many times I press it. I'm going to get hit a second time. Because either it just selectively decides to stop working every time I get hit, or poise is just that bad in Dark Souls 3. Which I kind of feel like poise is just that bad in Dark Souls 3. Or that was just I was stuck in the animation. Why would you do that when I'm right up next to you? Oh, that killed us. Okay, wow. Yeah, do you see why I went, oh, I still don't have the fire thing. That's not good. Oh. Remember when I talked about how I had a practice run? Well, I was going to do this finale a day or two ago. And so I did the practice run, and I beat this boss. Delayed attack. And so I did this boss on that character. Again, like a day or two ago. Beat him first try, and it wasn't even close. Where did those go? Don't know. I'm just gonna back up. I'm gonna heal because This armor set doesn't do a lot of defense. There we go. Alright, stuck in the animation. You know, up until this point, like up until this exact boss, I've been saying, and I've been putting down my notes, hey, this is a fast weapon class. Like, this is a weapon class that has speed on its side. And now that I'm actually fighting this boss, this one specific boss, I'm going, man, I cannot get more than a single swing in. Because if I try to get 2 swings in, two measly swings, I'm pretty much always stuck in the animation. Jesus Christ. That took way too many tries. I don't care how many tries that took. It was too many. Like I said, I'm going to press the dodge button once. Every time. It works every time, meaning my controller's not broken. Like I said, I use this controller for every game. It's not broken. It doesn't have this issue on any other game. And so, it really is the thing of just either I'm stuck in the animation, which is wild because I was only doing 1 to 2 attacks. And if 1 to 2 attacks with this is too much, think about great swords, think about ultra great swords, think about great axes, think about great hammers, think about axes, think about hammers, because even they're slower than this. Think about halberds, think about whips. Like, this is one of the fastest weapon classes. Besides daggers and, like, maybe fists. And so if anything is going to have speed on its side, it's going to be this. And it was still too slow, only taking 1 to 2 swings. And so either everything else is going to suck, which I know that it doesn't. I've fought this boss. Like, I've used every single weapon class in Dark Souls 3 before. And outside of daggers, it was not this bad on any other weapon class. I didn't get to fists or whips. So almost every weapon class. But halberds, it wasn't this bad. I did halberds last run. It wasn't nearly this bad. I've done it with katanas, ultra great swords, hammers, great hammers, axes, great axes. None of them were this bad. Which means that it might be a stun thing. Which, Poison Dark Souls 3 sucks. Like I said, I was getting hit once and just going and not moving. And I was moving, so it would be a roll instead of a backstep. But my character would just sit there and tank a second shot to the face. And having now played Dark Souls 1 and knowing how Dark Souls 1 operated, that really made me realize something about Dark Souls 3. Like a major problem that I have with Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. Light armor classes suck. Because they offer no defense and no poise. And you might think, oh, well, they're lightweight. But, like, I have two weapons. I'm only using one, and 2 shields, of which I'm... Like, I don't think I've used this, like, at all. Maybe in 1, maybe 2 fights against normal enemies. And I've used this a bit, but not a whole lot. And so I could drop both shields and one of the weapons, and my gameplay, like, wouldn't change at all. And I'd be able to put on a significantly better set. But in Dark Souls 1, you could upgrade armor. So you could take a light set like this and make it not nearly as defensive as like Havel's set, but you could give it serviceable defense. And while poise was a little too strong in Dark Souls 1, you could throw on the Wolf Ring, and that gave you serviceable defense and poise. Even with, like, the black leather set, which had 0 poise, you could still have serviceable poise if you gave up one of your ring slots. And you could still have serviceable defense if you were willing to give up upgrade materials. And that's something I would absolutely be willing to do. That is something I would happily do in this game. But Dark Souls 3 just doesn't allow that. And Elden Ring doesn't allow that. And take, for example, like the Sanguine Noble set in Elden Ring. It's a beautiful looking set, but you can't use it, partially because you get it at the end of the game, partially because it gives you basically no defense and no poise. And by that point, you've hit the damage spike of Mountaintops of the Giants. And so the armor set, as beautiful as it looks, you just never get to use it. Because if you tried, everything would one-shot you. And if they didn't one-shot you, they would hit you. You'd have no poise. So they would stun you for so long, they would hit you a second time, which would then kill you. And that really sucks. To have such beautiful armor sets and to be so heavily discouraged from using them because they offer no defense and no poise. And you could say, oh, well, they offer being lightweight, but you can easily get around being lightweight. Like, I just dropped 20%. I could easily put on a better armor set. But the game just doesn't give you the things that matter, which are defense and poise. And people already know this. People know that poise in Dark Souls 3 sucks. But I just don't understand why they got rid of being able to upgrade armor. Like, the heavier sets, like Havel's set, maybe that would be a bit too overpowered, but you can have certain sets that are locked off from that, or maybe upgrading them lowers the weight instead of upping defense. And so you can have, because that would let you have light armor sets while still having serviceable poise at the cost of upgrade materials. Dark Souls 1 does that, and I love that Dark Souls 1 does that. And it's so sad that Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring don't have that. Because then you can't really go with the good looking armor sets. You have to go with the butt ugly armor sets because you don't want to be 70% health and still get one shot. And you don't want to get hit once and then stunned for so long because you have no poise that you get hit a second time. It's just... I don't understand. Like, FromSoft makes good games, but it feels like going from title to title, they make changes for the sake of making changes, not necessarily changes that would make the game better. And things like getting rid of being able to upgrade armor to make these very light armor sets have serviceable defense, like, it just doesn't make any sense, and it really makes the game worse. And this fight right here is a major reminder why I don't wear light armor sets in Dark Souls 3. Like, as you watch through my Dark Souls 1 runs, you'll notice I pretty much never wear a defensive armor set. I never wear a heavy armor set. I always go with the light ones because they look better. And I prefer armor sets that look good to armor sets that have defense. But in Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring, that means that you have to just no-hit run everything in the end game. Because, like, you're not allowed to make a single mistake, because one single mistake can be enough to kill you. Again, I have 40 points into health. And the Ring of Steel Protection. And the Ring of Favor on. And it just wasn't enough. Like I said, FromSoft make good games. They're very good developers. But going from game to game, they make changes simply for the sake of making changes. And sometimes that really, really hurts the game. And being able to upgrade these light armor sets, taking that feature away, giving us the player less options, is a great example of that. And it's just so disappointing going from Dark Souls 1, where I can wear a very good looking armor set, and then jumping to Dark Souls 3 and being punished heavily for that. And in Dark Souls 1, you're punished for that because you have no poise. But you can get the wolf ring easier. Way easier. And poise is stronger in that game. Like I said, it's too strong in Dark Souls 1. But going around with a light armor set that has 0 poise with the wolf ring, your poise is serviceable. You can take a swing from a dagger, a swing from a short sword, but not a swing from a hammer. And that feels fair. And you are punished for the light armor set because you have lower defense, and if you want your defense to become serviceable, you need to give up souls, you need to give up upgrade materials. But I'm fine with that. That is fair. That is balanced, that is fair, that gives more options to the player. How Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring do it? It's not nearly as fair. It isn't as fun. It isn't as interesting. It doesn't give you nearly as many options. It takes options away from the player. It simplifies things in a way that is very bad. And I'm someone who really prefers to have options. And even if those options will cost me, I would prefer to have those options. And Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring just don't have that. And I really miss that. But anyways.
Gracious Lord, make London whole.